Hi everyone, welcome back to Collie Country. My name's Kim and I'm showing you today what we have growing in our subtropical, humid subtropical climate in the end of May. So it's nearly winter, only like 10 days off of it being winter, which is crazy, but still beautiful blue skies. It's still nice and warm during the day, so nights are getting a little bit cooler though. Got down to 15 last night. Eesh. Alrighty, so greenhouse 1, we've got corn growing. It's doing really well actually. Yeah, really happy with the corn this year. I haven't had any success growing it here since we moved up, so excited for some corn. I planted, you see them, some little silver beet. I just planted a couple of seeds here. There's a bit of a patch. Winter's about the only time we can grow any sort of greens. Down here, bush beans, which are going crazy. They look fantastic. They're quite leggy compared to bush beans I've grown before, but I think that's just because they're in the greenhouse and I have no idea what level of shade cloth it is. Oh, Poppers! What's your matter? Oh! Crazy Gracie. Anyway, what I was saying, I think it's probably like 50%. It's probably just a bit too much, but they're still growing well, so happy with that. Planted a new round of bush beans for, you know, maybe 6 weeks after I've started these ones. Doing really well. You know, bugs have eaten a few, but when you plant that many, the bugs can't eat them all. I cannot remember, actually, I probably started to pack it here because I finished it off. There we go. Just these ones, Simba. They're supposed to be good. I normally try and get the Blue Lake beans, but they didn't have any, so I thought I'd try these ones, and they're actually doing well. We'll see when it comes time to harvest. Alright, nothing in the back here. I think I'm going to plant my few cauliflowers back here. Now, I was trying this, you know, you get seeds in the paper strips. It's supposed to be red onions, but I feel like I can't keep the water up to it well. It's not how I normally start onions. That's okay. We'll see how it goes. And then just in front of the onions, you see it? Beetroots. I planted, you know, 4 or 5 seeds roughly, just a little bit apart, so they can grow in clumps. They'll be fine like that. But these are actually growing quite well too. Really happy with them. Alright, that's all I've got going in greenhouse number 1. Now, everything I've started in here, I started direct sown, which seems to be my biggest success this year. I'll close the door, otherwise the dogs will get in and destroy it. Yeah, I've separated a heap more seedlings, and this time instead of just doing, you know, the straight bags of seed starting mix that you get from Bunnings or whatever, I did like a half-half mix with the seed starting mix and then my own compost from the compost pile, and it seems to be working a lot better. The seedlings don't look as sickly anyway. So heaps of tomatoes. So everything over here essentially is just straight potting mix. So you can see, like, these have been, I transplanted these like weeks ago. These tomato plants should be huge and they're rubbish. Same with like the cauliflower. They should be heaps bigger, but they're not. They're rubbish. All the tomatoes at the back here, however, that I planted or transplanted like a week ago, they just look heaps healthier. Still taking their sweet time, but it is getting cooler overnight, so I'll give them that. They're doing much better. Now, I have no idea what types of tomatoes they are. I've completely forgotten. I'm pretty sure I planted like a black crim, and I think there might be a red mortgage lifter, and then one other one, and I can't remember. I have no idea. We will have to wait and see once they grow. I did start some cabbages. We really love cabbage, so they're doing well. They've only just come up. Then a few more rubbish looking tomatoes over this side. Brown onions, spring onions. These cucumbers, they need to go out. And then this last little few seedlings. These are my capsicums, a few more tomatoes, and jalapenos is the only hottish ones I started, just because I still have a freezer full. Alrighty, those flowers I planted, most of them got eaten by something. A few survived, but something's like eating them at the stems, but I can't find any particular bugs in there. See, like, I don't know if you can see, they're getting like munched at the stems. You can see it better on this one. It's like super thin, and they've just like munched away right at the bottom. But a few of them are doing alright. This cosmos, this marigold, another cosmos that seemed to have survived it. So I just keep deadheading this cosmos and just chuck the dead heads in the hopes that it just takes off that way. Alright, something I have done. We've got zucchini growing all in this bed. And then I planted some nasturtiums at the end. A few different colour nasturtiums, and they've come up now. So happy with that. I love nasturtiums. A few of these plants have been eaten. This one's been half eaten. Could be dogs just running through. Could be some sort of rat or native or something coming through. I have seen my dogs eat zucchini leaves before, so it would not be a first. Right, nothing in the second greenhouse, but I've prepped it and mulched it, ready to go for whenever I need the space. Which will be very soon if these tomato plants actually start growing. I think I've got more tomatoes than I have space for. Well, that I've got space prepped for. And plenty of space. Alright. Down these two garden beds. Not a huge amount going on. Oops, poor nasturtiums. More nasturtiums growing down here. Only mulched this morning, that's why it's I might have accidentally got forgotten about. Nothing planted in here yet besides, you know, all the flowers I planted out here, doing fantastic. Absolutely fine. And then at the back here, I planted climbing beans. As you can see, he looks pretty rough. They just, I don't know, not happy with it. Something's missing, I think, in the soil for the beans. Nothing as we go down. Haven't planted anything in here yet. This will all be tomatoes and things. And then some cucumbers, some white cucumbers I planted down here, just direct sown. They're just starting to come up. Some more nasturtiums at the end. Got to chuck some flowers in your veggie gardens. Makes it pretty. Makes it a place you want to be. And you need to be in your garden if you want it to be successful. Alright, all those perpetual spinach that I planted, dead. Except for one little lot, but it doesn't look great either. Benji cat! Benji! Get the garden! Benji, it's not your bed. Alright, anyway, as I was saying, the loofah still doing its thing. Got one loofah so far. And then in the opposite bed, just the pineapples at the end that have been there since I've moved in, have not produced a pineapple yet, probably due to my neglect. But what I did do, started, I'm taking out that tree. It might be considered a bit sacrilegious to be ripping out fruit trees, but it's just a locust. There is like 10 of them on the property. They grow well, they grow really well, but there's heaps here. This one's actually in the way. Actually, all 3 in this bed, they're just too shady. So I think these pineapples weren't getting any sun, like, at all. Or, you know, very little, just the midday sun rather than, like, you know, the 6 to 8 hours that they should be getting. So I decided that tree's got to go. And also, I don't particularly like locusts, so I don't really know what to do with them. I don't like to just eat them. I think they taste weird. So pulling one out is really nothing to me. And it gives me more space down that side to plant like flowers or veggies or something. Hey, Benji cat. Benji cat. What you doing, Benj? Benji. He's a good cat, this one. You in my garden, Benji? Sweet boy. He's a good mouse of this one. I trimmed the other 2. Oh my god, let me fall down. I trimmed these other 2 quite heavily, especially from the bottom and in the middle, so then at least it's just dappled light getting through. Same with the one just further down the end there. They're all locust trees. There's like another 1 or 2 in the orchard. There's like another couple over here. No great loss. Asparagus doing amazing. Like, look at these spears coming up. Next year they'll be good for eating. Another one over here. I'm super excited about that. Like, look at this one. That's nearly thick enough to eat. I'm not going to. Gonna leave it for 1 more year. But they're definitely getting some decent sized asparagus growing. From memory, I believe this was Mary Washington asparagus. I started it all from seed. I didn't buy the roots or corms or whatever they call it. Started it all from seed. It was really easy. Did really well. It's growing really well. It got pretty neglected last season, but it's done well. I've given it a good feed, good mulch, and you know, I water every couple of days, not too often. If you mulch really well, you don't need to water anywhere near as often, and being off grid, we need to watch our water usage for sure. Other than that, we've got the citrus, the mandarins are they're this close, and heaps of bananas. I think I've got seven of the banana plants have got bananas on them, so they do take a while though. I find they take a good couple of months to, you know, bulk up and then start to go yellow, but they get heaps of water. They get all the grey water. Even though this area is considered subtropical, where I used to live is considered subtropical as well, but there is a huge difference. I think up here we're classed as more what we call humid subtropical climate. I think it's equivalent to like you know, the USDA zone 11A, 11B. So we don't get any frost. Definitely got frost where I used to live. Not all the time, but you could get some -5s on occasion. It's pretty cold. Generally though, you could still grow everything all year round down there. Like everything. You could have tomatoes, you know, through all the seasons. Your brassicas and stuff, obviously, you had to plant those when it was cooler. Otherwise they'd just bolt. But I found up here I can't grow there's not much I can grow in summer. The humidity is way too much for tomatoes, and the consistent temperatures are too high for them to actually keep their blossoms on. And then with the humidity and the excessive rain comes all the diseases and stuff. It's pointless even trying to grow your traditional, summer vegetables in summer here. I found the chilies and the capsicums do well in summer. They do well in winter though too, so might as well just grow on with the rest of it. The loofahs did well in summer. And that's about all I've found so far. Like I found even the beans and stuff, it's just, I actually think it's too much water for a lot of things. It's, 90% humidity every day. It rains all the time, and they get a bit waterlogged, and then, all the diseases come in. So, yeah, you'd think you'd have more of a growing season here, but we definitely do not. It's less growing season, but I can grow so many more fruit trees and things that I could never have grown down there. Sometimes you wish that you could have, that year-round growing. I'm sure lots of people wish to have year-round garden season, but then you can't grow your things like your mangoes and your lychees and avocados and things, not without a lot of protection and work put into it. Whereas up here they just grow like weeds, so you gotta pick your poison, I guess. That's it from me today at Collie Country. Maybe it might help people who live in really hot, humid places like I do, and you've got to learn to work around it, I guess. You find most places where you get your information from, they don't have the same sort of climate as here. Most people do have at least a semi-winter, a cool spell, and not so much of a wet season where it's relentless some days. But yeah, that's it from us. Not much from the collies today. They're all waiting for the game. So we'll see you next time. Bye.